Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be ranking all of the TV stories from Doctor Who involving the Ice Warriors. It's interestingly enough, even though the Ice Warriors are one of Doctor Who's big villains, they haven't had a lot of stories. They've only had 6 stories between Classic Who and Modern Who, 4 in Classic Who, 2 in Modern Who. Even though I know one was planned for the original season 23, Mission to Magus or whatever it was called, Magnus. And then, of course, there was one, I believe, planned for season 27. We didn't get either of those, of course. Although Mission, I know, is in novel form. I have that. I need to read that. But it's interesting that there's such a part of Doctor Who lore. Of course, they've been in other novels. They've been in Big Finish spinoffs, etc., etc., etc. It's interesting that we only actually had 6 stories with them, and it occurred to me I've never ranked those, so I had to sit down and figure out my ranking. I knew my bottom one was going to be at the bottom. My top 2 are really hard though, and my top 2 are practically interchangeable. I could change my mind on those from day to day because they're both really good and I enjoy them both, and they tend to flip-flop. But without any more stalling, let's go ahead and start at the bottom of the list, which is just number 6. Let me be clear before I start, actually. None of these are bad. I don't think the Ice Warriors have a bad story. One of the benefit of them not having been in a lot of stories is that they've never been in a bad one, just an out-and-out dud. They've never been in any. I also don't know if any of their stories are masterpieces either. I don't even know if I would call any of their stories out-and-out classics. But none of them have been bad. They're all enjoyable to one degree or another. With some of them, especially the top 2, I find a lot of fun to go back and rewatch. So, starting with number 6 at the bottom of the list is the Ice Warriors, their first story. Again, I like this one. Troughton's great in it. Jamie's great in it. I love the guy who plays the guy in charge of the base, the guy in the white suit with the kind of slick, I don't know if it's slick back hair with the cane. I like him. The actor playing him is good. I mean, the character's a little overly reliant on the computer. We have to check what the computer says. But the guy playing him just sells it. He gives it 110%, and I like that. I find Victoria very irksome in this one. I find the other guy who can work the machine, the one that left the base, he's doing fine. His actor's okay in it. But the one that's his friend, the one that lives out in the wilderness, the one that gets killed, I don't really like him. I don't really care for that. The Ice Warriors themselves are fine in this. They're a bit two-dimensional, but they're fine in this. I like their little, I like their outfits. I think it's nice for 60s Who. I like the little whispering voice they talk in, even though it's a little irksome at times. I like it. The animation for episodes 2 and 3 is fine. Looks a little weird on the Ice Warriors, but other than that, it's fine. It looks kind of in line with some of the stuff we've gotten later. It works fine covering up for the missing episodes. It's just the story is a bit uninteresting. I'll go back and rewatch it every blue moon, but it doesn't engage me much. And by the time I get through it, I'm just kind of glad to be through it. It's not a bad episode. I mean, I will go back and do rewatches of it, but usually by the time it's done, I'm ready for it to be done. Moving to number 5 on the list is The Seeds of Doom, the other Patrick Troughton story. I don't go back to this one a lot, and I don't know why. I like it. This is another one of those that I tend to just remember the cliff notes from. I like it. It's got some good cliffhangers, like when they're in the rocket trying to land. You got some humans that go out bravely, like the one guy who sets up the trap in the room and manages to kill, I think, at least one of them before he gets killed. You have the one guy who's a bit of a coward, but, on the other hand, in real life, you never know how you're going to react in situations like that. I mean, the poor guy just doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to die. He's just, he doesn't have, his fight or flight is flight. He's a flight person, and he can't flee, so he's just scared. But he does go out doing the right thing. I mean, it's sad he dies, but at least he tries to do the right thing at the end. Again, the Ice Warriors are good in it. I always liked their kill effect when they kill someone in it. How they did that with the mirror is a really neat effect. Troughton's got some great lines in it, some great scenes in it. I need to give it a rewatch. It has been a while since I rewatched it, but just neither one of the Troughton stories really grabbed me. The most significant thing about both of them is that the first one is mostly complete, and the fact that Seeds of Doom is complete. It's one of the few complete Troughton stories. You can watch it without having to deal with animation or recons or anything like that. It's more significant for that than it is the actual story. Moving to number 4 on the list, we have The Monster of Peladon, the second of the Peladon stories. One of the highlights for this one is Sarah Jane. I absolutely love Sarah Jane in this. This is one of the best written stories I think she has, especially in Classic Who. And it's nice that not only, even though Sarah Jane is very famous for getting on with 4 well, but Sarah Jane actually gets on with 3 well. And that's in season 11, it's very apparent her and 3 get on really well. I mean, she tends to get on well with the other doctors. She gets on with 10 really well. So I enjoy here, like, when they try to basically call her, you know, servant, or somehow they imply that she's subservient to the doctor. I am not, and she gets up and the doctor's having to keep her down and quiet, and she feels very developed here, this very, you know, work. And again, considering the story is like 1973, 74, this very strong, independent woman journalist type, which is a very fresh idea at the time. And she pulls it off really, really well, and it never feels forced. I like Pertwee in this one. He's great. The actress playing basically the Queen of Peladon, she's good. The guy playing the engineer, who's also in Space Pirates, I believe, he is really good. I like him. I had him kind of pegged. Sinuses are bothering me. I had him kind of pegged, but I like him a lot. He's really good in this. And it's nice to see everything going down with the Ice Warriors. And even though they kind of return to their villainous ways in this one after the nice twist in Curse. But I do like the fact that it's pointed out that they're just a rogue faction, that most of the Ice Warriors are still the honorable ones we meet in Curse of Peladon. This is just a rogue faction kind of going back to the old ways. I do like that that's addressed. Yeah, I enjoy everything going on here. I love that the doctor shows up expecting to be welcomed. He doesn't realize the king's passed away. And him basically having to win over everyone all over again. Also, the effect of the statue of Agador showing up and killing people is a pretty cool effect for Classic Who. I really like it. Not as good as Curse, but not too much difference. Sarah Jane really helps carry this one for me. Which moves me up to number 3 on the list, which is The Curse of Peladon. Again, I don't think either of the Peladon stories are out-and-out classics, but they are a fun watch. David Troughton is great in this. I like the kind of bond that her and David Troughton's king have. It does feel organic. I understand why she doesn't stay with him, but you could see maybe in an alternate timeline where she might have. I like Agador himself. I think Agador is a cool character in both stories. I just like this one a little more. I like some of the creature designs, like the guy who looks kind of like Skeletor's head in a glass thing. That's kind of cool. I love the twist of the Ice Warriors not being the ones responsible. And not only that the Ice Warriors are good guys and trying to help the Doctor, but that the Doctor's own prejudice in here kind of blinds him. He's so tunneled in on the Ice Warriors are doing this that he's not seeing what's happening in the peripheral vision, so to speak. His own prejudices kind of get the better of him here. And I like that. I love the fact that the Doctor is not a... my sinuses are really acting up. I love the fact that the Doctor is not a perfect character. He has flaws. He makes mistakes. He makes the wrong assumptions sometimes. It's nice that he doesn't always have the answer, and that he's so convinced he's right here that it blinds him to the possibility he might not be. And that's one of the reasons I really enjoy the story, is him having to realize, hey, I was wrong. These actually were good people and they helped me. And then even the Ice Warriors being a little frustrated that they're being, you know, basically tried simply over, you know, past mistakes, and that they're different now. Plus, I like Alpha Centauri. Just in both stories, I like Alpha Centauri. But I just prefer Curse a little more over Monster. So if you're paying attention, that means my 2 favorite Ice Warrior stories are the modern Ice Warrior stories. Surprisingly enough, I think both of them are a lot of fun. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I think they're both good stories. I really have a hard time ranking them. I'm going to say number 2 is Empress of Mars for now. I like it. I like the fact that The Ice Warriors are kind of in a gray area here, but the humans are also kind of in a gray area here because a lot of the humans are portrayed as, well, they don't come off smelling like roses, let us say, being thieves and being selfish. One character trying to redeem himself for being a coward. It's really interesting, this one. I think the camera work is good on it. I think Capaldi is putting in a good performance. I think the Ice Warrior design looks really good. I love their kill effect in it because while it's not the same kill effect as in the classic series, it looks like it could have been. Like if you've never seen the classic Ice Warrior stories, the way their blast kills someone in this looks very like that could have been how it was done in Classic Who. It has this kind of silly, done on a budget look to it, while still being a modern update of that. Like take, if it had been a Classic Who kill effect, and make it a little more updated for the for 2013. And that's the effect you get. And I like that. I like that it kind of harkens back to Classic Who with how it works. I like that the Ice Warriors, you really kind of see their nobility here, their sense of honor, and you kind of see kind of what governs them. I really, really like that. I think that's really neat. It's just a fun story. I feel like a lot of the side, well, not a lot of the side characters, but some of the side characters are developed a bit, like the guy trying to redeem himself, and of course the Empress, and you get a good grasp of her. And I also think the one Silurian that was trapped with the humans, the one missing the eye, and why he was doing what he was doing. Now, I will admit them seeing the message on the moon with the rocks, you know, whatever it said, I don't remember, is a little silly. But other than that, I think it's a fun episode. Which at number 1 has Cold War. I like Cold War. One, it does a really good job of reintroducing the Ice Warriors to the modern series, updating their outfit a little bit, but also explaining why that they look like that. The fact that their armor is armor, that's not actually them, that's armor they wear. And explaining why they don't come out of it as that being like a huge dishonor for them to leave their armor, like a huge loss of face, so to speak. But it's interesting because with the Ice Warrior leaving his armor, it adds a whole new dimension to what an Ice Warrior can do. Because they're very reptilian, and the places they can fit in and slide in and hide in, especially on a submarine, which is a very claustrophobic space, you know, with everything being small and crammed in. It's a perfect combination. It's almost like Alien on the Nostromo. You really get that sense of, you know, like one of the aliens in Alien, how they can just cram into these tiniest spaces, and you wonder how they do that. This Ice Warrior can get in all these little nooks and crannies, and you don't know where he is, especially being in this very crammed in, claustrophobic space, and that really heightens the tension of the story. Plus, the episode has David Warner in it. I love me some David Warner. I'm a huge David Warner fan, because David Warner is one of those actors that even if you don't know who he is, you've seen him in something. One of my friends, actually, when David Warner passed away, I was mentioning it to one of my friends. We worked together at the time. And he didn't know who it was. And I was like, you've seen him in something. And so he looked up David Warner and he saw some pictures of him. It's like, yes, I've seen him and stuff. Because he's been a good guy and stuff. He's been a bad guy and stuff. He's been kind of a person in the middle and stuff. He's an actor I really like. I always enjoy when he pops up in things. And of course, he's also the Unbound, an incarnation of the Unbound Doctor in the audio. So it's nice to get him in the show proper, and he's fantastic in this. I also like the guy who's the captain of the submarine. I know he went on to do Game of Thrones later. I like him a lot in this. And then I like Matt Smith in this. He actually gets to use the red setting. I didn't notice that the first time I watched the episode, but on rewatch, I've noticed at the end when he's holding the lock on the missile commands, his sonic, the light is changed from green to red. I love the fact his sonic has a red setting. I just really like it. Clara's good in this one. I tend to like Clara with Matt a lot. I wish we had gotten more time with them together. She's good in this one. I think the Ice Warrior is written well and done well in this one. I think the camera work is good in this one. It's directed very well. And I think Matt Smith is fantastic in it. And again, it gives you a nice sense of an Ice Warrior's sense of honor when the Doctor convinces him to turn off the nuclear codes. it's just a lot of fun. Both of the modern episodes with the Ice Warriors are a lot of fun, and I really enjoy them. So that's how I would rank the Ice Warrior stories from worst to best. None of them bad. I enjoy them all to varying degrees. I don't think the Ice Warriors have had a dud yet, which is fantastic. I would like to see them come back again. Maybe Russell will give us a story with them again. I think in Russell's hands, they could be done really, really well, going by his past era. So I'm curious what you think of the Ice Warriors and how you would rank their 6 stories from worst to best. So comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in 2023, and we are well on our way to that. I also have a Patreon. If you would like to support me that way, there's a link to that down in the description below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. I want to give a shout-out to some of my top-tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support as I do the support of all of my patrons. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review down there as well. And a link to my Amazon wish list is also down there. I update that regularly. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.